All right. First off, thank you very much for listening to this CD, and it's called The Bamboo Parachute. Just to say this at the beginning, thank you very much. I'm going to give half the proceeds from the CD to charities, so it's cool. It's good for people to contribute. I'm going to start off with a poem called The Man Who Made October. Emptier than sex or after birth, she's the color birdcage with the sweat of husband, your birthday crayons and the water running alone with child, telling her how ugly she is on a good day. This womb with rickets waiting for the sprinklers to come. On, I put off making the bed for a woman with no country has the freedom to silence a cock. Drinking from his sister's milk, he's developed an unusual amount of antibodies. While Jesus dried up in the snow and I'm still sitting on the carousel scared of monsters and cushion, the one without parents, it's good to see you lying. Still she carries the water well. All right, got through the first one. That's a good deal for me because usually I had to read the one that I wrote just yesterday because I tend to hate everything I wrote the day before, let alone. So anyways, this next one is called The Receiving Line. Sometimes you're lighter than all the water accumulated into the soil, and sometimes your hate could kill the sky, and it would take a man with a serious lack of oxygen to put you out. When even December can't hold you, still, it beats not knowing Christmas. Going south. At the end of the ocean, the waves curl and die. Down on her, waiting between the moans, he's always driving, utterly predictable, with a large, hard headboard and a soft lying. I promise you a snow halo that will last well past spring. The last fish crawled back into the great black, pink at the mouth's glitter. When it all dried up and their gills couldn't smell the color of her middle anymore. The moon in the last mirror broken, without eyes or fingers. And all he can think, with empty nets rubbing sand, is what he will miss the most. Bitter Angels. My son's got her by the neck, broken. She's outside his naked body, trembling, red wine on her breath. He's like September and she slows to rust. A whore named Father left her lonelier than God without cracks. On her knees, even when standing, she's not lucky enough to be a bad driver at night. With a pillow between her legs, this cancer grows without spreading. Turn the gas on, baby. You won't stop me from holding the walls and everyone away. But know how much God loves a birthday. This poem called Beautiful. It's about my wife. Beautiful. She's like rain. Witness. Your winter in June, red lights and the smell of stale sex. I'll take a cream to you. There's more cream than sugar in that grin. Looks like the death of a month and one less overlooked erection. The problem with hope and how easy it is to get fucked. Paved with shark cartilage and the National Weather Forecast. I'll do anything not to be alone after I wake up from the storm of dreaming, the azalea's pink worm root. Don't you know you can't trust men who work on elevators? Whiter than God. Flies against the sun, in the shadow of a bruise, on the hairless fruit she's hung, above sand in May, in the between stars without the moon handicap. This minute it's beautiful. Before all the dead monkeys collect fall in a pool of original thought where the doe won't speak, and she's quieter than birth when she finds a pair of wings that work. It would be good to be able to lie and get away with it. I guess you need to come out strong to leave an impression. With all the over-pollination, it could be hard. Shaking the rocks in the middle of the mountain, I wonder if God knows any better than us. staring at the shadows of the tiger's smile, sharp on bamboo whiskey and the education of constant misunderstandings. Maybe that's what keeps me going, the promise of failure urging me forward, like all of us, facing the womb and the sun, and I know nothing clearly. Don Pablo's. The great white buffalo, candy teeth and a flat brown ass. She was a waitress with a fountain in the middle, something really special that it seemed no one else could see. She was waiting for Mr. Loud Action Big Sky Mind to come and polish her up, grab her pink walls, put his flesh into her open wounds, completing to heal her from the outside in. Someone to appreciate her thin artistic fingers. She's waiting, hooves in the dirt, showing her horns to wolves and hunters, occasionally being fooled into sex by Coyote the trickster with man face paws, alcohol steam, waiting for something we know will never come. What kind of person could do that? 1,000 faces inside the prison walls, all your own, chanting. It ain't much different on the outside, a little kinder in the daylight where the tigers aren't so bright or visible. In the moonlight, everything has teeth. The inmates aren't mean or cruel to him. In fact, he never really garners much attention. He doesn't even pay much attention to himself. He's just pushing time alongside everyone else, no better or worse, not even different. Sometimes in his head, he will be his mother in large breasts and a house dress telling him small things that he can't get his hands around. He isn't possessive, but it would be nice to have something. Outside, he can hear the airplane's special cargoes eating the sky, high above the failing green and rotten souls of birds. With the concept of erosion comes the implication of things sliding down. This certainly seems true to him. Someone once told him that parents who have baby girls have bad karma, but he doesn't feel that his mother's been particularly blessed. She has small teeth for the amount of words she seems to always have hidden in her mouth, plain and red like the stain at the end of a cigarette once. He had a true thought that someone else took credit for, and he's never really felt trust since. The red eyes of a clock, 7:01 a.m., blankly follow him out of bed to his nowhere job in black pants and an unexciting sex life, not worth the vows to put it together. He isn't even frustrated as he knows there's no true freedom in waiting to die at 24. The inside of my pocket knife. Lend me a piece of your eye so I won't hate you. Want to chew you up, side large and easy to cut at. We all have demons. She said, I've never had sex with someone I love. 33, raped in high school. He said I married her, got her pregnant, and killed our son at 7 months after she had bonded to get back at her for not being there for him when his father died. He wanted to let her know how it felt. Lesbian spiders on the moon read Shakespeare, keep ravens, collectors of the dead souls of the ancestors. The Germans want to build a monument for the Jewish victims of the Holocaust, but there are 4 fingers and a thumb and a fist, and it's not good to try and remember one without the others. Compassion for the innumerable beings, pretas, the hungry ghosts who populate one of the 3 lower realms of existence. Having immense bellies, but mouths and throats that are only as big as the eye of a needle. They suffer from insatiable hunger as well as other torments. Can you trust others or me? A Christ in Ohio, towering over the river at Troy, is beginning to crack and chip. Restoration is the only prayer for prolonging the life of this Christ, but there are no real budgets for this large erection. The Chinese have almost consumed all of the large Buddha body in Tibet. 16-year-old virgin has her pussy surgically enlarged so she can join the rest of us. Your feet are never dry. My only apologies are my life, shallow and weak dharma. The small black box. The angry young bodies tight, wanting intoxication. Collarbones and hips, it would melt you to look at their fires, eyes wide open, bewilderment. The chirping makes the cat hunt. All those black bruises under the skin, all of us lying to anyone who will listen. It's a good pitch, but I'm not buying your dusty line, laid heavy. There are no heroes, no one worth believing in, no one who isn't a whore peddling their cheap liquid to anyone dry enough to thirst. The host animal. The goldfish lives its life every 30 seconds, renewed. An entire life of hunger, happiness, death. Everyone has a mother with cancer. We've all tasted the nipple, and it's good to be human in a cage. We're all saints, living in solitary, without a tongue, without eyes. You don't know where to send your prayers. We all carry a great lie, all the fireworks you didn't light. Welcome home, baby. Everything slips through the fist. Do you think the ants don't know the magnitude of your world? I can hear the wings of a butterfly shaping the wind. The monkeys scream, the hooves beat, the dogs bark, and the tigers make silence. As the bodies start to fall, tomorrow I will get up and hike Berkmo Scenic Park, Hudson, Minneapolis, ancient burial mounds of the Chippewa and Dakota Sioux. I'll think of my mother and my wife, mother of my son and me. My life on a swing. Outside the lights, I'll tell you how it is. July 4th, 1999, the last independence of the 20th century. Staying in a room, Tinley Falls, 25 miles outside of Chicago. My window faces a Speedway gas station. Premium, unleaded, at $1.33 and regular at $1.15 a gallon. I can see the flags in the wind, fibers, all the people with boats hitched to their pickups and beer guts. When I talked to you, you were making breakfast, a Southwestern omelet, and I was going to work on one of my 9 beers on ice, 11 a.m. my time. The superstring theory past the quantum. I'm listening to Willie Nelson tell me you were always on my mind, and I hear trains and seagulls, but I don't have any tracks or shells. I'm not patriotic, and I don't have any fireworks to light off. All I have is all I'm giving to you right now. All right. Well, about halfway through, so, tell me when this gets boring, so I'll stop. Hope you guys can appreciate that I'm taking time away from my busy schedule of beer and excess so I could do this self-indulgence for you. All right, I'm starting to loosen up because I had my 2 cups of coffee and now I'm drinking beer. This one's called On Your Ear. The great mind clock clouds heavy, with nipples and rain turned over in itself the electric poetry of silence without syllables or barked consonants. Eyes open to lightning in the dark grain steam stillborn without a ripple or seed. Surrounding the 2 sides of a screen blankly transmitting white mice static. It makes sense not to try and figure it all out, but I can't help it. Scratch it under my nails' wings. Last night I had a dream with famous people and thin lights, yogurt inside crabgrass, all the griots were hanging from street lamps. Pissing yellow breath ribbons, thick hair and large hands. Maybe I will dream everyone into dust, like the Buddhist priest Daruma, who meditated so long his limbs withered away. When I wake, I try to swallow, but only produce more water. All right. Some things better left unsaid. Inside God, she said the shade is much cooler than my daily overbite. On the wrong side of the road, it feels wet enough to explode. We'll get along if you're a drunk whose shine fades with alcohol blur cloud mosquito. If you live here with the bullets and charcoal kidneys, I know you're humble. Every time you wake up with a hangover, hating yourself and trying to piece the night before together. If this is you, then you probably know my true name. When there's nothing left to burn away or hold on to, then you know your original face before your parents. He wanted to do something nice with good intentions, but nobody knows where he hid the bodies, and the blood on her lips makes me love her that much more. The light blue afterthought. Maybe you should water me down. It might help make me soft in the middle. I don't trust skin. Your seamless black grounds spilling on the countertop. Doesn't it make you? You're my favorite plastic thing because you'll never shine, and I'm just like looking into a hole in your Sunday mountain ripple, trying to land on your feet. Maybe I'll learn to make you arch. They found one of the victim's old bodies, and I'm ready to sit in a bar and start collecting. Start thinking about you now that you're gone, and I'm back to being a thin piece of leather in Los Angeles, the center of the ocean, eating the sun, shutting the curtains. It's too hot to hold your breath in all this motion. No one sees the cloud's feathered tip halo in a rental car, in a hotel, and a shitty bar in Hollywood. You're my favorite thing when it's easy to hate almost all of us. Blow the whistle. She came out ready to die between the legs, like new China, Mao's great sparrow kill breeding bloodless flies. She hates it under the light's yellow steam, like the intestines of Beijing hung across the wall of democracy. Some say the strength of a net is the bind of the collective wire, pulled across each other's thin fingers. Some feel it is the steady hand without ripples of movement. Lenin said dialectics is the study of contradiction in the essence of objects, but she feels like an aphoid under the feet of a great cloud ant stuck in the smell of things falling and her own insides all around her. Ingalls claimed motion itself is a contradiction, and if she could sew all the pride ribbons in China into her, she would still spill out. A vulnerable spot in the ocean, visible even at midnight. Clapping for all the half-eaten, though I feel a well-tied knot needs no rope, I cannot begin to imagine how much an ant hates God. You make a good robot. You taste flat, even, when I'm sideways drunk in the mouth, like a mosquito in your pants. Your loud, swollen bang is over so quick it's not the story of creation without a point of origin. I'm sure you'll probably live a lot longer than you care to if you haven't already done it. All right, here's a stupid little story for you. Not an explanation, but a story. So, a while back, Gary Snyder came here to Sacramento to read, and I'm a big fan, so my old lady insisted that I go, or I'd regret it, because I haven't had the guts to go visit him in Davis. So he's reading here in Sacramento, and while he was reading, I wrote this poem for him called Manzanita, and then I had the balls to give it to him afterwards. So this is for Gary Snyder. That old bastard Zen canoe. Would you stay hard forever without sweating light? Would you fill the cracks in the red soil, Yuba Mountain? Sing the sea into your mouth, take it. So we could all feel again, longing. Your special knot in the mesh, no more bright than the Diamond Sutra, widow of the sun on fire. This is sort of a companion poem to that last one. Do you have enough stones? That old Zen bastard canoe, filling life with holes. In a river-swept ocean, walking in circles deeper than the ground. There's nothing worth stopping for off Highway 99. No one smells the vineyards and the wine. Almost Mexican by association. I would love to come close, cover you in skin for a day or two, if it would curve the sky more toward your liking. Sometimes long lines work. You give me your trouble, scratched off the inside, womb picture idea, wait. A quick dog twitch, looking at your wet shape, numb. There's so much wrong with simple sobriety, glamorized. Cold green tea might seem nourishing. If I could lift this earth off its shelf, I would gladly eat you whole, so you could feel me truly as fucked as you. The Halitosis poets. The fishermen are out around the fountain trying to catch a piece of samsara that Bodhidharma brought from India, along with a soft brown apple and a monkey, looking for a hard spot of soil to kill his monkey with. 2,000-armed sunrise, sweating in its teeth. We would all rather taste blood than sugar. And I'm laughing at you, attending my funeral, wearing life vests, and knowing I will not be there waiting. Braces. It's cooler to be in your shade, easier to predict the future of plastic than to be the mess that is you. It doesn't mean you don't shine, it's just time isn't taking care of your wounds faithfully with you. A plain pocket caught in turbulence. Nobody knows what they mean to you. I have no right to wonder, but I miss all my beautiful friends, pre-Christ lives, imitating living. The protein of an ant colony. It always starts with one or more, the lowest common denominator being 126 different single-cell personalities in mitosis. Page 112 from your suicide note. He didn't know the meat was pink and uncooked in the middle. Still had a little blood left, but obviously doesn't matter to a good carnivore celebrating Christmas monthly. Ants communicate by touch and smell. In the hands of working on her, 1,000 waiting fruit flies litter the sunlight for the glimpse of a scrap left over from a red, chafed childhood. She could get down easy, but had a hell of a time getting it up. Maybe she was born with a longer antenna or less antibodies than the rest of us. She could smell the flower's underside sleeping through dawn. Was like a sunburn and the roar of being. What it sounds like at the end of vibration. The grapefruit belly pedaling forward like a man who's never tasted a breast. Page 59 from the Encyclopedia of the Overlooked. In the portable winter, I find myself scared by women who can whisper and breathe. A low sky nest called at him. Why not just throw sunshine at the moon, boy? And he knew the true nature of a kite is failure. The fire ant is omnivorous, known to eat meats, greasy and sweet materials. The total time from egg to adult is 30 days. In the robe of thought, I wait for Jati, rebirth, standing with 100 broken mirrors that won't show me God's fragments. On a pedestal below the waist, I try my best to avoid results. The way with a good swimmer, there's no longer the swimmer or the ocean, only the action of swimming. From a solution to erosion. As my lips bleed with broken poetry, she could give a dog cotton mouth. Sees through my glass Buddhism, which can't fully pour or receive the marrow of Job's vinegar and the frailty of bone next to cartilage. She's beautiful, like rain coming, all over me in pieces. The carpenter ant normally nests in the dead portions of standing trees. Lifting 4 times her body weight, she forgot when the last wet menstrual fruit had dried up after being peeled. Suicide journal entry number 12. When there was no one left for him to finger, he licked the syrup off and bit at his shadow's umbilical until he was free. From all roots above ground, holding time, running still. Through a maze of snow cactus and salt sand, honey on 1,000 buried toes, I'd hate for you to remember even one more time. The house ant have 12 segments in their antenna. Each female in the nest lay off 1 egg a day, and when crushed, give a very unpleasant odor. Her ghost followed her around for 3 days before she died. He was too busy writing to masturbate or notice that his collarbones had grown back. 2 terms invented for paradox. 1, autological, self-descriptive. 2, heterological, non-self-descriptive. The question being, is heterological? The ant mantra, provability will never be as strong a notion as truth. Taken from a proposal that works. They say the grain's gone. To my head, that I can't see all the rings missing from the shower curtains. Film. But could never thank or forgive her for showing me how to bury the ocean, or hunt without tools, without silence, ending logically. The following sentence is false. The preceding sentence is true. Thank you.